Let's see. We ready to go? Okay, and we're recording.
Yes.
Yes, all right. I'll drop that in. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Public Safety Committee for July 18th, 2022. And I welcome everyone here. I see that we have committee members Brooks and Pillar on Zoom, and Mike Sigler is in the room. Have we heard from Henry? Is he up there? Okay, well, why don't we proceed with at least getting some of our business done, and hopefully Henry will join us for discussion. Is there any public comment anybody wishes to make to the Public Safety Committee? And I remind everybody that we will be reconvening at 3 for the joint meeting with Health and Human Services. And I anticipate there'll be some people who will be speaking to us then. Seeing none, we'll move on. Any changes to the agenda? I believe there's a couple resolutions that were added. One is the authorizing agreement between Tompkins County Department of Emergency Response and Cornell University Division of Public Safety to establish a backup dispatch center. And then another one, authorization to accept grants from the Office of Indigent Legal Services. And so those will be added to our agenda. Maybe we'll take care of those in Chair's report. I notice that we have minutes from June 16th, 2022. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes? Veronica moves, Mike seconds. Thank you. Any questions, comments on our minutes? Ready to vote? I'll call the roll. Veronica?
Yes.
Travis? Travis? Okay. Mike?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Travis, there you are.
My mic wasn't working. Yes.
Okay, we were unanimous on the minutes. Thank you. And let's proceed to Chair's report. And I'd like to introduce the resolution authorizing agreement between Tompkins County Department of Emergency Response and Cornell University Division of Public Safety to establish a backup dispatch center. And could I get that on the floor? Would somebody move that? Veronica moves. Travis seconds. Lisa, do you want to speak to this resolution at all?
I'd be happy to. So as I believe you're aware, the county has we have authorized and are in the process of a capital project in partnership with Cornell University to provide a backup dispatch center for our Department of Emergency Response's main center. The project is well underway, was in 2022. As we have been negotiating with Cornell on the specifics of an agreement, an operating agreement between the county and Cornell for the use of the space and the backup dispatch center, we realized that we didn't have anything formal from the legislature authorizing us authorizing me to enter into an agreement on behalf of the county for the space. So our county attorney, in conjunction with, working together with Mike Steitley and Cornell's attorneys, have hammered out an agreement, which I would like to be authorized to sign on behalf of the county and to move forward with the backup dispatch center, which is in progress and on schedule to be completed by the end of this year.
And certainly, we're floating on the Rubicon, if not across it, in that we've committed to spend money.
Yes.
So this is a bit of a formality, but an important one. And for the benefit of any public who are watching, this has been a long process to make sure that we have resiliency in our dispatch center, that if there was any failure or emergency, that we could not operate from our present site, which has been in continuous operation since I think the 1990s. This is our backup center. So it's a important piece of our public safety continuum. Any questions or comments on the resolution? Seeing none, I would call the vote. Veronica?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, and so that passes. And then our other item that I'd like to cover on Chair's report is a resolution authorization to accept grants from the Office of Indigent Legal Services. This is for assigned counsel. Could I get that put on the floor? Veronica moves. Travis seconds. Thank you. Lisa, do you want to speak to this one?
This is money that was expected to be coming from the New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services to support our assigned counsel office. Lance is on if you have further questions for Lance as well. But this is state funding to support the operations.
Yeah, Lance, I'm sorry I didn't see you up there. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, I think Lisa kind of covered it. This is just basically another step in our ongoing support, financial support we get from Indigent Legal Services from the state. It supports a lot of our support services, some of our specialty courts and so forth, the different grants we get. And they routinely kind of roll over and get processed through.
Okay, so unsurprisingly, you think we should take the money?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
Yeah, this is money that can't supplant our basic services, but frankly, we're able to use this to provide a lot of supports, and it actually allows us, if we're effective and creative, to keep a number of our costs down that otherwise you would see hitting the county and forcing our budget up every year. So it is a way to help us stay cost effective at the local level and keep the county costs down.
Very good. Okay, I'd call the vote. Veronica?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So that passes. Okay. I do not have any other chair's report at this time. The next item is County Administration Report Discussion, Equipment Renewal and Replacement. Lisa?
This is a quick item and for information only, really. Any of the projects that are in the county's 2023 capital program that relate specifically to the Public Safety Committee are included in your packet, and the one project at this point for your information that will be in the capital plan is under Department of Emergency Response for equipment renewal and replacement. As you know, the Department of Emergency Response relies heavily on communications equipment, which is in need of regular maintenance and repair and replacement. And so for 2023, it's projected that there'll be scheduled maintenance of generators, roof repairs, and in the current year, the tower site battery backup, there have been some failures sooner than anticipated in the life of those batteries. So battery replacement is being planned for and scheduled sooner than anticipated in the capital plan. So that's what's included in 2023 in the capital program for Department of Emergency Response. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Right. I assume that the battery failures we've experienced haven't led to a significant problem with being able to use the communication system. But I see Jessica is with us. Maybe she has comment on that.
Thankfully, no, they have not resulted in a significant loss of communications. The design of the system is structured such that if one tower goes down, the others automatically pick up where the connection was lost. So while there may be some loss of service in particular areas that one tower would service, the county as a whole wouldn't lose service. So it's unfortunate that the batteries are failing sooner than anticipated, but it's a fairly easy remedy if we can get them replaced soon.
Okay, and while we're on this subject, I'm curious if there's any feedback on the ES chat rollout, and is that being used? I know that our last meeting, there were about 30 people that had started using it. I assume there's more now.
I am not aware. I'm not able to answer your question. I'm not sure who has access to it. I know there's a handful of doer staff, or actually I think almost all doer staff have it. But I couldn't tell you who's using it and who's not at this point. I would have to have a discussion with Mike and Harlan on that.
Okay, sorry to put you on the spot. Didn't mean.
That's okay.
Yeah. Any questions or comments on the capital plan here? This portion of the capital plan? Seeing none, we will move on. Lisa, do you have anything else from county administration?
That's it for me at this point. Thanks, Rich.
All right. And I understand our sheriff is at a conference, but I see our undersheriff is with us. Jen, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Yes. Yeah, Derek's at the Sheriff's Summer Conference in Clayton, New York today through Wednesday. But I'm prepared to answer any questions you have on the monthly report and just a few highlights for July. We went live with the sheriff's clerk on July 5th. As of this date, I believe they've handled around 29 calls. So we're closely monitoring that and continuing to work on their training protocols, and we'll probably have a debrief with Dewar just to see how it's going and see if we could expand that program. Also, see, July 24th is the sheriff's camp. So we have about 12 local children that will be driven up by one of our corrections officers to that. July 30th, we'll be conducting our PT test for deputy sheriffs. We had 40 individuals sign up, which is significantly less than traditionally we have, but hopefully we can find a few good candidates out of that. We have a transfer applicant starting July 25th, so next Monday. We're excited about that. Get her up and running and get her on the road. And then if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
When is the PT test?
July 30th.
Okay. I did have a question, but if anybody else wants to go first. The calls that are being routed to the clerk positions, is that being determined at dispatch, or are the calls being routed to the sheriff's office and then distributed from there?
No, we worked with Dewar. We had a lot of meetings before we went live. We established 7 different nature codes that if the sheriff's clerks are on duty and the call circumstances were met, that they would automatically get dispatched to the sheriff's clerk. Okay. And if there's a question on whether it should be handled by a deputy or sheriff's clerk, they know to reach out to our on-duty sergeant that would help make that decision.
Okay, and certainly if a call comes into a clerk that it then turns out the nature of it wasn't entirely clear and we really need a deputy involved, they just refer back, I assume.
They would refer right to our road patrol sergeant, who would be able to get a road deputy there quick, and they would also have communications with dispatch.
Yeah. Thank you. All makes sense. Okay. Anybody have any further questions, comments for our Sheriff's Department? Seeing none, we'll continue on. I see our District Attorney, Matt Van Houten, is with us up in the corner. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, everybody. We are busy. I think probably the biggest thing that people are interested in, a couple things. One is we're continuing to do the ERPO proceedings, which is the red flag law proceedings. We are attorneys from my office are appearing on behalf of law enforcement agencies who are filing red flag proceedings in Supreme Court here in Tompkins County, and those proceedings are specifically designed to address concerns about individuals who are in distress, expressing a desire to harm themselves or other people, and relate to their ability to possess or to purchase firearms. It's a civil proceeding that restricts someone's ability to possess firearms and to buy them for a period of 1 year after the date of the order. So we've been doing a lot of those, almost several a week, I would say, since the two most recent events that made them even more relevant and on people's minds. We also have been working on the serial burglars case. Everybody's probably heard about the individual who burglarized many commercial businesses in the city of Ithaca and then was released because burglary in the third degree is burglary of a commercial residence or non-dwelling. That's not a bail eligible offense. So it was required that he be released on his own recognizance. One of the changes to the bail law was that if you are released on your own recognizance on a felony case and then you commit another felony, then you can have bail set. And that's what happened in this individual's case, is that he was had been arraigned on several felony burglaries, was released and went out and committed several more over the course of a weekend. So the city court judge set bail and he is currently in the jail pending further proceedings.
Yeah, I did read about this, but you'd know better than I. How many businesses did he end up breaking into? Over
12.
Yeah. Okay. And Matt and Lance, I just wanted to make sure you are aware. I offered you guys up to speak to the CJATI advisory board on this issue of bail reform. I thought you were better placed to really talk about it in real time. But this seems to be a pretty sort of clear example of where the bail reform may need to be further nuanced, I guess is the word. That felony burglary, one after the other, it does seem like that should rise to the point somebody could be held. But I guess we're still working on that. If you have any comment, or Lance.
Well, I think there is the traditional felony burglary of a commercial building, like Walmart, for example. Walmart's always open, I guess, but somebody who breaks into a business when they're closed and steals items, that's a traditional burglary in the third degree charge. That is, it's a non-violent felony. So the law doesn't contemplate, or the legislators didn't contemplate, that somebody would go out and burglarize a dozen businesses one after the other. That another theory of burglary in the third degree is somebody who has been given a persona non grata from a business. Said, let's say Walmart says, "Don't come back here. You stole from here. We don't want you to come back." There is a theory of burglary that if you go back and commit a crime, that's a felony, and you might steal a $5 package of bologna. It's a felony. So we don't typically prosecute those at the felony level, but across the state, many jurisdictions do. And that's something that would be eligible for bail if all Berg thirds were bail eligible. So, you're right, there's a lot of nuances to this. And, finding the right amount of discretion that the judges could have, we have a community where our judges are pretty conscientious and we can trust them for the most part, but that's not always the case across the state, especially in upstate counties.
Lance, did you have something you
Just
wanted to add?
Rich, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was offering you a chance to speak.
Oh, I think that's kind of correct here. One thing to keep in mind is this guy's incarcerated now. That's actually a result of the reforms that went through to allow for this type of thing to occur. In these cases are still kind of the anomaly. One of the other things that occurs with someone like this, he committed, I think, most of these crimes before he was ever picked up. And I'd have to go back and see, and it's what can happen with someone like this is oftentimes you have a bunch of unsolved burglaries. You catch someone, you can charge him with one that on its face looks fairly innocuous, and then law enforcement is able to start tying in more to him. In this case, he went out and committed, he was charged, released, went out, committed a couple more that weekend, I think, as Matt noted, was caught and then was incarcerated. And that is kind of a anomaly. You don't get very many of those when you look at everyone that's charged under non-bail qualifying offenses. And it's one of the reasons you have this structure is what I think what Matt referred to. Our judges are pretty conscientious about trying to apply when and how you set bail on someone, but frankly, that's not unfortunately the situation across particularly much of upstate, which is one reason why you have the legislature setting the bail statutes as they are. But it's unfortunate, I think. And this guy's a bit of an anomaly. I know he's new to us on council. We haven't seen him before. After this case passes through and we see what's going on, we may know more, have a better sense of what was occurring. But he's a bit of an enigma, I think, right now to everybody.
Okay. All right. All right. Anybody else? Questions or comments for our district attorney? All right. Thanks, Matt. All right. Seeing none. Department of Emergency Response. And I see Jessica is with us. Welcome.
Yes, Mike is out for the day. I don't really have anything other than what was submitted for us for our report. If anybody has any questions. The furniture has been installed in the backup center and it looks fantastic. We're ready to schedule some dispatchers to do a walkthrough and see the space with the furniture in it and ask any questions that they need to ask. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have everything done that they will be able to start dispatching out of there if needed.
And I do have a question there. Is the plan that some dispatching will occur from there to make sure it's all functional?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. I think the plan is, and they're still trying to work it out, but I think the formal plan will be that once a quarter, each shift will be in there so that every shift gets some time to dispatch out of that space so that they're familiar with it and its functionality and everything. And eventually everything will be the same between the two centers. So.
And I'm curious, were there any real design changes made in the new system or what we built, a couple decades ago? Is that essentially? As
far as radio system?
Well, just how it's set up for the dispatchers. I assume the job's pretty much the same either place.
Correct. The job's the same either place. There were only some minor design changes. We have to connect the backup center building to one of the tower sites to be able to have the ability to dispatch and transmit from the backup center. So that was a change, but it was a relatively minor change compared to what it could have been.
Okay. And I'm curious, is there any update on getting visibility of the Ithaca Police Department vehicles in the dispatch center? Has that problem been resolved? The software issues you were working through?
I don't believe it has been resolved. I believe it was a technical issue on IPD's part, but I'm not positive on that. I know Mike has been working to help resolve that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Department of Emergency Response? All right, we'll keep moving. Department of Probation and Community Justice. I see Dan and Carla are here. Welcome.
Thank you, Rich. Hello, everyone. Today's the first day of Probation and Parole Officer Appreciation Week. So we're busy appreciating our staff over here. We had a nice breakfast for them this morning. Tomorrow there'll be an ice cream social over at day reporting at 1 o'clock if anyone wants to come over and have some ice cream with us. So we've got some activities planned. Things are pretty good. We've been involved in all the building security discussions. Appreciated the support. I know that goes to the full ledge this week. Recently communicated with all the magistrates in the county. We decided to start a pilot program where we're going to be recommending community service basically for everyone who gets a probation term, unless they are convicted of a sex offense, have a weapons related conviction, or are physically or mentally unable to perform community service. So we set a mandatory minimum expectation of 24 hours community service for misdemeanor convictions and 40 hours for felonies. The only feedback I got from magistrates was positive. So with utilization being down, numbers being down, we're trying to strengthen the use of that program as a connection for people who are ready to go out and engage in some pro-social activities and connect with the community in that way. So we should be seeing those numbers get bolstered here in the near future.
Well, if I can add my voice of appreciation for your department and the work you've done, especially through the pandemic, just how difficult it was to make sure that probation was functioning at a high level while you couldn't have direct contact with a lot of the people you were supervising. I thought there was a lot of innovation and extra work put in to make it all happen. It's great to see things sort of returning to a more traditional course. But,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And what time is there ice cream tomorrow?
1 o'clock in day reporting.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be really hot, so come on over and get cooled off.
All right. Any questions or comments for probation? Okay, seeing none, we'll keep going. We have the assigned counsel program. Lance, anything further you wanted to report to us about?
No, nothing further really. I know you're on a time constraint, but no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, we will be reconvening at 3, so we will have yet more public safety to talk about today. And I'd welcome anybody on this call to attend back in or hang on the line until then. I don't know if it's the same Zoom address. Okay. But I'm looking forward to a really good discussion with our sister committee on the various items that sort of overlap public safety and human services. So with that said, I think we can adjourn. Is there any other business that we want to bring before the Public Safety Committee before we do that? Seeing none, could I get a show of hands to adjourn? That's unanimous. We'll see you soon. Thanks.